What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Homie Hangout, where we help others move in excellence. And I'm going to talk briefly about this thing called replacement theory, right? And it's been talked about a little bit, but it doesn't really get attention. And I don't think it really gets explained, but it has huge consequences for all of us. And I think some of us unintentionally subscribe to replacement theory in our own ways. And so the shooting in Buffalo has brought it up. uh, a bunch of black folks were shot, and I think one white person too, but a predominantly black business was shot up by a white guy. And in his manifesto, in his writings that explained what his reasoning was, he echoed and said white replacement theory, right? And he heard that on the TV, he heard that on Fox News, he read that online. Like this is not unusual. There was a shooting in Texas a while back in which somebody shot up a predominantly Mexican business, and they said the same thing, right? Is all these Mexicans are taking over, so it's same thing, white replacement theory. Hitler is probably the most famous example, right? In terms of Jews, if you allow the Jews to continue, they're going to take over, right? They're going to replace us. They're going to do away with our belief system, and they're going to enforce their own belief system, and we will not be the majority anymore. And in fact, we will be victims of these evil people. And so that justifies putting them in gas chambers, right? And and that stuff is still, again, existing today, except we don't have gas chambers where we put large numbers of people, but we have mass shootings all the time by folks who feel like that's their way to defend themselves against these aggressors, right? And so it doesn't only apply to whites. It's not only a racialized replacement thing, right? It's anytime somebody believes that another group gaining some type of power, right? Which that power may be just rising up to a level of being treated equally, or getting close to being treated equally, right? But so anytime a group progresses, maybe is a better way to put it, and that progression scares the dominant group, right? Then the dominant group all of a sudden becomes the victim, right? Even though they're still the dominant group, they now present themselves as the victim of this insurgency, of this wave of this other group, that if you allow that wave to continue, life as you know it is not going to exist. People like you are not going to exist, and you're going to be replaced by them and their belief systems. The whole idea of like the gay agenda, right? And now we got gay people in commercials, and we got gay people all over TV, and kids are able to just dress however they want, and schools are teaching people that there's different genders, and there's parades and all this other stuff. So there's this gay agenda. And if we don't stop this agenda, then we're all going to be gay. Like straight people are just, we're going to become the enemy, right? We're going to become the enemy because like the country is starting to think that maybe gay people aren't the enemy. So then when they get in power, we're going to be the enemy, right? And I think part of that is a subconscious reflection of karma. You know what I mean? Man, we've been dogging this group for a while. So if they get some power, they're going to dog us, right? Look at all these immigrants coming over here, all these immigrants, all these Mexicans, and these people want them to be able to vote. Well, if they vote, they're going to vote their values, and their values aren't our values. So they're going to get control. We're going to lose control, and pretty soon we're just all going to be speaking Spanish, right? Because that's what's going to happen. It's the Catholics and the Protestants had this issue in this country, right? Of this being a predominantly Protestant country at its at its conquering, so to speak. And then Catholic folks come over here, and man, if we let this, they're going to replace us, right? Jewish temple, to this day, Jews are targeted for this idea that they're pursuing some new world order or one world order, or whatever it may be. Like that hysteria from the 40s is still at play today, most notably in this country. Um, so it shows up in many ways, and the media pushes that. And it's not all the fault of conservative media. It's also the fault of quote unquote liberal media, because each one is trying to get as much attention so that they can get money, because politicians need money to stay politicians, right? And they all feed off of each other, so it's a pendulum swinging, right? It's like the little ball that swings on a string, and if it goes too far this way, well, when it comes back this way, it's got to go pretty far as well. But it's not a game. People are dying, right? Whole communities are suffering. Young people, I did a video yesterday about the 13-year-old and the shooting in Washington, right, in Yakima County. And we, brain undeveloped, we talked about some of that stuff. Young people are growing up and hearing this, and they're feeling like, I have to do something. We're being targeted. They're coming for us, right? We're being bullied, and it's only going to get worse unless we make a stand. And I don't really know what my life is about, and I don't know what my worth is, but I can make a stand. I'm going to make a statement. I'm going to fight back against the bully. Now, mind you, the bully is always the marginalized group, right? It's always the other group. Them folks who are, well, they're not marginalized now because look what they got, right? Black folks got a president, right? So, I mean, Black people got everything good in this country now. You know what I mean? It's this twisted ideology, but we also see it, for example, in Black and brown communities sometimes. Southern California, you got a lot of neighborhoods that were predominantly Black for a long time. And Black folks had to work hard to get those neighborhoods, right, as they came down here from the South for work and whatnot. And had to fight to secure those neighborhoods against, a lot of the white communities around them that wasn't happy that they were there. And so they built a community, and a lot of brown folks have moved into that community now, and a lot of Black folks have moved out. And so there becomes this mentality of, oh, look, man, the Mexicans and the Central Americans, they're taking our neighborhoods. I saw that when I was in East Palo Alto. East Palo Alto was a predominantly Black city for a long time, and it's not now, right? I mean, I'm talking pre-Facebook and stuff, not now, because now it's a radically different town in a lot of ways. But before tech moved in, before anybody else in the county saw East Palo Alto as profitable or worthy of investment or anything else, the Black population was equal to the Polynesian population, right? Latinos, raza, whatever you want to call them, made up 70%, right? Of a community that was like one vote away from being called New Nairobi or Nairobi Village. So there's some hard feelings there, right? The raza that they don't understand, what's the problem, right? It's not as if we're going over there and kicking people out of their houses, kicking down doors and evicting folks. So why are you mad, right? It's an affordable place to live. We live here. But it plays on that replacement theory, this idea of if anybody else gets any room, we're going to be taken out, right? And it breaks up the chance for people to come together, of course. It also is rarely rooted in a lived experience. It's a manufactured fear, right? Now, in terms of communities shifting around, no, that's real. But that's real for a lot of reasons. A big one is people move out. People don't want to live in the hood anymore. People get some decent jobs. Somebody, grandma passes and leaves their house to somebody, and they're like, man, I'm gonna flip this house and get up out of here. So there's lots of reasons people leave. And anytime folks leave a community, somebody's gonna come and take their place. That's just how it works. And so it's not personal, right? That's just the economy and the nature of how things work here. But this idea of like, oh, a brown family moved in next door or a Black family moved in next door, man, they're going to take over the neighborhood. People don't have that lived experience. They don't. They have a manufactured fear. They've never really lived in a neighborhood where somebody of color has moved in next door. They don't actually know what happens, right? But they're being told this is the agenda. This is what's going to happen. And so they're on alert, but they're on alert for something that's not realistic. Again, they don't have a lived experience that justifies the fear, right? Most of the time, immigrants can't vote, just for the record. And so I'm not going to get into all that, but that's not a real thing, right? Mexicans coming taking jobs is not a real thing. Yes, immigrants come here and work, but they're not taking jobs. Employers can hire whoever they want. And most people that have lived in this country for a long time, no matter what race, do not want to go work in the fields, do not want to go work in unsafe factories. That's just the reality. But nobody blames the corporations. They blame the immigrants because immigrants are coming to replace us. Corporations are okay, right? Because we're America and we're capitalists. But the people, no, the people don't work, and look at all the Central Americans coming up here. Man, they're going to take over, and they're bringing their gang with them, even though, quote unquote, their gang started in LA. But look, now they're bringing their gang up here. They're going to start running around chopping everybody's head we got to get rid of them. Got to call the cops when we see them. There was a whole thing going around for a while about Becky's and Karen's and calling the police on people of color for just doing average life things, right? And being hysterical about it. They really fear that, though. That's why. They really feel like this is an imminent threat. And they feel that way because they're told that. And they're told that by the media in this country, primarily. Yet the media is not accountable for what happens, right? The shooting in Buffalo, Tucker Carlson is not going to get up and be like, you know what, man, I got a little carried away with my language and that might have inspired that. Never. He's going to play the victim again. I'm a victim. Yeah, right. You're accusing me of influencing somebody that did this crazy thing. I never told anybody to go shoot anybody. How is it my fault? You're just coming after me because I speak a political view that you don't like. I'm being targeted. Poor me. The Democrats are coming for me. Look at this. See, this is what the left does. They're all radical, this and that. And it becomes this clusterfuck, man, of issues back and forth. Then the quote unquote liberal media, it's all Fox News' fault. It's all Fox News' fault, or man, we should just take it better yet. We should just take everybody's gun away. We need gun control. Gun control is not going to stop a mass shooting. It's not, right? And so, but it's a political talking point, right? Oh man, big shooting. How'd they get a gun? Then here comes the right. See, they want to take all your guns because some crazy person did something. But look at all the shootings in Chicago and it becomes this circular thing. And a lot of folks check out, right? And understandably so. Man, I ain't getting into that. I don't understand it. I don't want to understand it. Or I do understand it. And what I understand is it's all bullshit, right? I don't know who to listen to. I don't know what's true. I don't know what's not. I don't have the time. I work. I got a family. I got this, man. And if you do sit down these days to watch the news, it's kind of like watching Sports Center on ESPN for 4 hours, right? You're really just going to hear the same thing over and over, with every now and then a little new thing tossed in there. And so people don't have the time or the capacity for that. To be quite honest, we have large segments of our population that just don't have enough education to recognize bullshit when it's there. These lies have a kernel of truth. The best manipulation, the best lies, if you want to put it that way, start with a seed of truth, right? Because that's how you build trust. This happened. Man, you know what? I checked it out and that's true. That did happen. This happened. Man, that's true. That happened. This happened. Well, I don't even have to check it out. I already know that's true. Nah, that's where you're wrong, right? That's where you're wrong. And that's where they get you. Is because now you trust the individual and you give that individual the power to influence your life choices. And that's dangerous. We give up our control. We give up our power. We get hustled. We get bamboozled. We get manipulated. And just not engaging with it does not mean that we're not getting hustled, because then you're getting hustled in a different way. Because if you don't engage, then you're just a non-factor. I don't have to manipulate you because you don't even care. But you not caring is one less person that I got to try to hustle. And that's great, right? So our normal ways of a lot of us of respond to this stuff is not working. And the stakes are high, right? And I am not a Republican. I am not a Democrat. I am not a part of any political party in this country. I think they're all trash. A lot of them are trash for the same reason, unless some of them got a little extra trash involved or a little different variety of trash, right? But it's trash nonetheless. This is a culture issue. This is an issue of what's normal in this country, and it's dangerous. And we as individuals can recognize it. And are we going to go stop mass shootings? No. Are we going to all of a sudden make news not profitable like it used to be, in years past? No. The only reason news is even on TV is because the major network, the government mandated that major networks like CBS, ABC, NBC, right, that they show news as a public service. It wasn't profitable. But you had to show whatever is an hour, half an hour, you had to have a news program in order to have a broadcast company. In order to put anything on TV, you were required to show news, I think in the morning and in the evening, but for sure in the evening, because it's a public service to be able to have that kind of access to people in their own homes. And folks need that information. Now, news is hugely profitable, right? It's basically the most profitable thing on TV. Just on TV, on cable TV, not on cable TV, antenna TV, whatever. That's the most profitable thing that there is. And with profit comes corruption, and politics is very financial. And with profit in politics comes corruption. And so it's all interlinked. And I don't have real easy answers, but I do know that it would be helpful if we were more aware. If we did not subscribe to those, even like these jokes or these narratives of replacement theory in our own ways, right? We have to break the trend of thinking that anybody's progress is somebody else's loss, right? Folks can win at the same time. Folks can rise up without oppressing other people. Nobody is under attack as a society in this country, right? There's no particular group that is really trying to be replaced. And so, I mean, I'd say to some degree, maybe extreme white racists. Yeah, there probably is a concerted effort to replace them, but replace them through education, replace them through exposure, replace them by trying to help their kids not grow up under that ridiculous belief system that they grow up under. And so that's it. That's my spiel for the day. Replacement theory is dangerous. Replacement theory is going to lead to more mass shootings, and they're not going to stop. Gun control won't stop mass shootings. A good guy with a gun doesn't stop a bad guy with a gun. It's the stupidest thing that I heard. Arming everybody and then they'll wipe out the bad guys is also one of the dumbest things I've ever heard. None of that is true, man. What we need is for people to really serve their communities, to serve their families, and to try to view the bigger picture instead of being stuck in our own individual bubbles. And instead of following whatever chatter comes along in terms of this is how we have to be. This is how we have to be. Watch out for them. Watch out for them. Watch out for them. No, man. If somebody hasn't given you a reason to look out for them, don't sweat them and don't look out for them, right? And if somebody has given you a reason to look out for them, that doesn't mean you look out for all people that are of that color or that income or that, whatever, right? We got to think bigger than that, man. We got to think bigger. And don't believe people just because they told you the truth one time or two times or three times. Trust but verify. And you take power away from the hustlers. You take power away from the snake oil salesmen. You take power away from the news networks when you don't believe the hype, right? Those that do believe the hype, man, it can get dangerous. It can get real dangerous. Anyways, it's the Homie Hangout. Help others move in excellence. That's what homies do. Help yourself at the same time because you're worth it. I don't normally get into politics and that kind of stuff, so this is a little bit out of my arena, but in light of the violence recently, I thought it was something worth raising. There's lots of other content that's not political. Feel free to check that out, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.